Good evening, sir.
You're welcome. All right, so the recording has started. Good evening once again. Yeah, let's roll. Okay, so what can you remember from the last class? This is how we've been rolling, so you know exactly where we are. Okay, so what was the take home from the last class? Let me know at least. This is what we did last. This is what we did last, right? And then we started touching the other course, the other course, the other topic on environmental analysis. So I said today we are going to dig deep into it. I've not downloaded the recording from the last one so that I can upload for you. So you may not have it, but please reach out to your colleague. This number is quite not so good. Okay, well, first of all, how are you going with your group assignments and your individual assignments? Let me get the feedback. I hope you're not copying from Google or asking ChatGPT. As I see about 77 submissions. That's what I saw. I saw that today. It should be, let me be sure that it's yours. Okay. Or maybe that's BSAQ201. Oh, it's 301. Oh, 301. You put your submission, I'm not even yet up to 70 yet. I have 62 submissions from this course, and then your group assignment. I have 4 submissions so far. So this semester is a different one. Oh. Thank God you see that your exam timetable has come out. You have started registering for your exam already. And what that means is that there may not be room for extension of assignment date. So bear this, and the assignments are so simple. Okay, on September the 1st of September, you have your quiz open. I may set up the quiz. Are you raising your hand to say or ask a question, or it's just a signal for something?
I actually have an issue with my group leader, and that's
If you
why
have
I'm
an issue with
even.
your group leader, everybody who has an issue with his or her group leader should gather the group members and get it done. Then reach out to me once you've done that so that I can assign someone who's active in the group to submit for you. But you have to have a proof and agreement from everyone in the group to say, okay, we all decided to have a change of group leader. Okay.
There's
Yeah.
no problem, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you too. So once you have to do that really, you only just do that, do your best so that you just get your own stuff out of it. You understand that group assignments like this can be frustrating sometimes when because there's some other people that want some, they have different objectives from you. So and some of them may not be so active online, and they came for a DLC program. Just gone to normal 4 walls. All right, so we started off from business objectives into strategies into policies, and then we started discussing environmental analysis. You are doing some analysis. What's an analysis? You hear analysis. What people will be thinking is data analysis. Yes, it's data that we're analyzing because data is information. So it's actually information analysis. You're analyzing information from the external and the internal environment so that you can make some solid business decisions. So we started out from here already looking at the model right? Looking at the model and then different concepts, a few concepts which I'll just repeat and then we'll rush. We'll go to your courseware and look at it in details, right? In details. Who's asking a question that somebody is saying they don't know? The lecture has started. Okay. Yeah. You don't need. Oh, wow. Are you saying this person has not attended lecture before? Sorry, please let me attend to that person very quickly. Okay, so you don't need to download Google Meet app. You just click on the link and let it roll. Take you to okay. Person is not even here to hear it now saying, but that's fine. So let's go on, please. On my screen, we're looking at a few things. Some of them from before now are definition of environment. Okay, what it means to analyze the strategic characteristics of the business environment. Okay, yeah, okay. So we say environmental analysis. This is the topic now. So let's look at it from here. We have some other concepts that are close to it. Environmental analysis, environmental scanning. Okay. Then strategic management audit. Then we have the external strategic management audit and the internal strategic management audit. Let's try and see how we can differ. The broad activity, which is a continuous process, is called environmental analysis. Okay, that includes everything. Everything there is under environmental analysis. So the part of that analysis where the information is brought so that decisions can be made, that part is what we call scanning. You scan the environment, environmental scanning. So it involves a few things, right? Monitoring the environment, especially the external environment, monitoring the environment, evaluating what you have found, and then bringing that information into the organization, making sure that everybody in the organization has it, especially the people that have the responsibility of making those decisions. So that's scanning. Okay. Yeah. So and once that happens, that entire process is also called strategic management audit. Okay, the part where the information now is analyzed. At environmental scanning, we're not going to the part where the information is analyzed. We are at the part where the information is being brought in. But when we get to strategic management audit, that's where the information is being dissected, discussed, analyzed. Okay. I said in the last class, strategic management audit, the fact that you see audit there does not mean that we are referring to the regular annual financial audits that companies do. I hope you get that now because I've seen people who do not attend classes or read books when they come to lecture, when they come to the exam rather, and they see this, they will start talking about bringing auditors. What are we? Is that what we're talking about? They start talking about bringing auditors from the external auditors that will come and audit the financial records of the company. Okay, that's not what we're talking about here. I hope that's clear, everybody. We're talking about information audit here, but that information audit is is it's not like you're trying to probe anything to find whether it's wrong or not. You're only trying to find out what lines of action can be made, can be taken upon, okay, the information. Whether you should do, number one, do nothing, or number two, take action. The- So what you need to try and be proactive, one step ahead. Okay, that's why we have this. So when it's referring to the external environmental component, that's why we have it as external strategic management audit. And that's what they call industry analysis. You're going to look at this industry analysis actually is not entirely encompassing term. I can say competitor analysis, or yes, competitor analysis. That's what industry analysis is, because it's only your competitors that are with you in the same industry. Imagine you're working with MTN and you're trying to do. You're working with MTN and you want to do an external strategic management audit. Then you'll be looking at the likes of Glow, right? Glow, Airtel, Nine Mobile, all the other ones for calls. Then for data too, you start looking at all the other Starlinks and Co. Smile and all of those ones that you have, those other data providing companies, okay, service providers that we have. So that's the industry analysis. So industry analysis is basically a competitor analysis, but the real external strategic management goes into all the external environment. I know external environment is broken down into two categories. The ones that you have direct contact with. That's why we call them the direct environment. Okay, like your customers, your business deal with them directly. Suppliers, the same thing. Competitors directly in the market, so on. But when you say the economic environment, the political environment, the technical environment, technological environment, the social cultural environment, you can only feel the impact of these things, but you don't have any direct one-on-one. Who is economic department, economic environment that you want to talk about, or who is technological environment that you can say, okay, let's go and hear what he's saying. But it's just a phenomenon in the environment that the presence is felt. So that's how we put everything here down into a little bit a kind of a model, no, a model, so that you see all that the external environment is about, and then what the internal environment is about, right? Yeah. So look at this. Okay, we said the process. That process, we've done all of this before in our last class, so it's the review we are doing now. So don't come and don't ignore them. I said when we are studying any particular environment, if you are studying the competitors, you're going to ask yourself some questions because you're looking for information. Okay, questions are what bring answers. What are the things? What are the areas you're going to ask about? That's what I mean by the first point there. What variables should you monitor? If you're looking at the economic environment, what are the variables we'll be looking at here, right? If you're considering the political environment, same thing. If you're considering um, ecological environment, same thing. Okay, a second, please. All right. Okay. So regarding those variables, you know what questions to ask, and then the other details. So let's jump in from our courseware and do a little bit of a thorough a little bit of a thorough approach to it. Okay. Yes, thank you very much. So, do you want to ask a question? Hmm.
Well, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Sir, please, I would like you to please explain that strategic management audit again, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
How do I put it now? There are basically two aspects of this whole thing, right? But the audit, when you say audit in itself, you are trying to find out an information. You're trying to dig to get an information. So that's the word. That's why they use it when somebody's coming to check whether your business is doing well or not, or whether. Now, strategic management, while I'm scrolling, I'm trying to say it right. Strategic management is that audit, is that process where business use, okay, businesses use to get information that can inform their decisions. Let me give you a typical or a simple example. Those companies that are in the agricultural space in Nigeria today, okay, they've had to make a lot of hard decisions that are not yet going well because of the way things are changing in the market. The government has its own decision, the market has its own decision. All of a sudden, after the harvest of last year, prices of goods started going down. Price of grains, price of maize, for example, started dropping. So those companies that are into all of these things, they're crying and looking at losses. Then all of a sudden, last week, demand started surging. What's happening is the government no longer importing maize. Before you know anything, the price of maize has started picking up. It started climbing again. So maybe they were planning to dispose all their maize before, but with this information, they will pause and say, okay, let's monitor and see what's going to happen. Now there are two different environments at play here. Number one, the political environment, because at first, the political decisions are what began to crash prices, which is actually affecting these companies' income. Then it's now look as if the political decisions have come to a halt. So the economic forces now of demand and supply have to now play their part, okay, to push prices up. I've given you an example now. So with strategic management audit, this info we need to keep their eyes open, get this information. That is scanning now. Get the information, scan to get this information. When they get this information timely, you can now dissect it, sit down at the board meeting, make decisions. That is the audit now. Sit down at the board meeting, dissect the information, and come up with decisions. I hope I've answered your question. So when you put it in a sentence form, is when you get what we have here. Okay. So it depends on what you're looking at. That's what now makes it either an external matter or an internal matter. These ones I give to you now as examples are all external matters, generally speaking. Okay. Yeah. So we said here now. Um, so I'm supposed to separate scanning from that. Anyway, let me see how it goes. Whether I can even do it this night. I said environmental scanning is the monitoring, evaluating, and disseminating of information from the external environment to the key people within the business so that they should respond decisively to the factors by, see from this part now, this formulation of strategies, that's where strategic management comes to play now. Okay. Yeah. So they do so by what? Formulating strategies that take advantage of external opportunities or that minimize the impact of potential threats. This process is called strategic management audit, acting upon the information. I hope you get it now. So when we're digging deep now, we'll be looking at specific areas. I hope I've answered the question.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. So let's move on. Let's see. I can see somebody on this note. That's very good of you. Um, How will we get to that place so fast? What page is it on? Objective setting. Try. Pitfalls in objective setting. So that's in one of your assignments, right? R and D coming. Good. So this is the chapter we're talking about. So now that you understand what environmental scanning is, and then what strategic management audit is, let me say it again before we run through here now, because we'll be looking at how these things are applied in different aspects, right? So through environmental scanning, they are checking to get the information, right? And then through what now? Strategic management audit, they're analyzing the information and coming up with strategies that will make it. So this is the chapter on environmental analysis. Yeah. So they began this whole thing from the textbook by identifying them as forces, external forces and internal forces. What you saw in my note as basically environment. So we've already seen the political. This was a one. Okay, number one, the economic forces. Number two, the sociocultural forces. Number three, they are all there in that simple model that I brought up. All right, that should be this. So you see the whole four. Those are forces on a particular level. Okay, they brought up a diagram and show you how they are related, how they put relationships together. Okay, good. Now look at this. Look at this part. I was telling you about the indirect environment. It says external trends and events such as the changes in the external forces, changes in government policy, changes in technology, changes in name them. Those things now they translate into changes in the other things that you can see, customer demand, and so on and so forth. So that's what we have here. So the changes in this environment, these are mostly like your remote environments. They call them remote, like because you don't really have control. Is that the one that's called remote or what? Now let me see whether I know it's called macro. There are many things they call them. And let's just leave the terminologies at direct and indirect. Okay, it's okay. So you don't feel them. You can't see them, but you can feel them exactly. So whatever happens here is what is primarily determining what happens in the one you can see direct, the one you can touch. You know your competitors, you know their names, you know your suppliers, you know the distributors, okay, you know the customers, the creditors, the employers, and all of these things now will now become either opportunities for organizations or threats. Right? Politically speaking, I don't know whether it's political now. You know, Nigeria, I don't even know which one is political and economic. When they say we should change, we should stop using old 1009 notes. Okay, what happened? Some organizations saw opportunities, some saw threats. Some of them must have seen that thing coming, and then they began to act quickly to see how fast that they can take advantage of it. Or that's just a simple example. But the type where you hear subsidy is gone, I've given that example a lot, right? That is, subsidy is gone is a political factor, right? And I bet you on that day, many businesses have their eyes on the president, not because they like to attend or look at inauguration ceremony, but because they know that anything can happen from here like this. That whatever that thing is will determine the new landscape of the government. So what we'll be doing now, we'll be looking at each of these. And remember, we said when you start looking at them, you know what to focus on. Give us about three different things. What are the variables? What are the issues that we'll be looking at? Number two, what questions are we going to be raising on these issues? You have to know these questions. As a matter of fact, let me tell you, questions from these questions that you raise concerning certain areas will come out in your exam. So just know that one. I'm giving you exam tips now. Okay. Okay, so they said here again, they're explaining it here now. External factors affect the kind of products you produce, how you position yourself in the market, type of services you offer. Okay, they're all there, they're all part of it. So we've explained all of this in my notes, how you perform this entire activity, and then okay, the key factors that should shake your company should be important to achieve long term annual objective. That's given by Fround as quoted by David 2011. This is an academic environment. This kind of things is one of the things that characterize an academic learning. So you always see things that is pay attention to them because you will see them well too in your probably your CBT also. Okay, those things must be measurable and they must not just affect only you, something that can affect all the firms that are competing. And so it should be hierarchical. Okay. There can be some that will affect the entire company. There can be some that can just affect probably your marketing department or finance. All right. I've told you about environmental scanning and the rest of it. So let's jump straight to the economic forces. So we are starting with the economic forces, right? Good. Economic forces have many things. See, interest rates, funds needed for capital are affected by interest rate. There is inflation, there is deflation. There are many of those variables, many of those issues that you should consider. And these are the issues that are given here. They call them key economic variables that you need to monitor. Okay, just look at them. Look at a few examples. Availability of credit. What kind of economy is it? Is it a product economy or a service economy? What is the level of disposable income of the people? You look at these things. What is the interest rates? What's the current inflation rate? What are the money market rates? Name them. There are many. Okay, because what's the GDP trend? What's the consumption pattern? What are the unemployment trend? What's the value of naira? What are the stock market trend? And so on and so forth. The tax rates, so you can see them here. These are the questions, the areas that you can look out for. Okay, they didn't give us questions around this, but you should be able to raise questions by yourself for these ones based on what you've seen. The second area that they want to check or to look at is the social cultural forces. They combine demographic. You know what demography has to do with population. Okay, this is population that is business, population is your business, but the population, how it is characterized is what determines what you can do. A population that is filled with old people, then you know the kind of things you will sell. A population that has more of women, you know what you will sell, and less of men. A population that has an even distribution of men and women, that's what we call demography. So demographic issues surround all of these things: men, women, boys, girls, age classification, gender classification, academic class classification, okay, all of those things. Then natural environment is just nature like we have today. The rainfall, the air, the water, what kind of like during rainy season, people who make umbrellas sell a lot. But during dry season, they look for another business and start with. Okay, so these are just basic examples, but they are all put under the social or sociocultural. When we say social, we refer to how the people behave. What are their buying habits? And these buying habits are usually affected by probably their religion or traditional celebrations that they have, with their customs, okay, their way of life, generally speaking. Okay. And these things change. They have plenty variables here that usually change. And they affect your product, they affect your service because of the Gen Z generation that we're going into now. You see how banks also see how banks have starting from when who now these guys did star 737. GT Bank was the one who started it, right? By then technology had not even advanced, but GT Banks capitalized on the social factor of the fact that we have many young ones coming up, and within the next 20 years these young ones will become the fathers. And when they become a father, they will be the guys that will be in money. And if they are our customers, yeah. So that was how GT Bank moved before we started having the issues that we're having right now. Okay, so let's look at issues that we can read all of these things share on your own. Okay, that trying to describe changes that have happened in one sphere or another. So look at all the variables that they brought out. They brought out many variables, right? Can you see them? Over 20, over 30 variables. What are the childbearing rates? How often or how fast? That will determine how fast the population will grow. Okay. What are the number of special interest groups? What are the number of marriages? What are the number of divorcees? These are the social factors. Okay, things that are connected with how people relate to one another. Number of births, number of deaths, immigration and immigration rates, social security program, per capita income, life expectancy rate. How long do people live in this society averagely? Okay, just read all these things and brush them up. They may not come out this year, so but just understand them. They may not come out this semester in your exam. What's air pollution? What are the population changes? So those are the issues that surround that. Next, let's look at political environment, or let's say the governmental environment, because the governmental environment is the word now that covers both the political and the legal aspects, right? Good. So, yeah, okay. So interesting. So you know what this is now. This one is straightforward. What they didn't give us much here, but you know what to ask yourself here. Okay, you can read all the stories here, but we can say a few things. What's the political party? What's the political system? Okay, is it democracy or democracy in quotes, like we're practicing around the world right now? Okay. And then what's the ruling party? If it's a democracy, is it a military regime? What kind of party system do they have? What's the ruling party? Who's the president? What's the breakdown of government? Okay, and so on and so forth. What's government budget like? Those are the things you find under here. And then technology, okay, technological forces. You know how methods of doing things are changing rapidly. Method of communication, method of processing, method of this and that, because of how innovation is going on to bring out gadgets and systems that can help. Okay, so look at it together. We call it revolutionary. They are really revolutionary. Okay, how the internet has transformed banking business. It is really a revolutionary one. Okay, so these forces, they didn't ask so much questions here as well, but you read it in detail. Okay, you read about how companies today now have a CTO because they have to begin to take advantage of what's coming on. Many companies now are focusing on AI, 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 AI. How will we use leverage on AI to do this or do that? It's good, so they should do that. So that's where that macro environment ends. Now let's look at the direct environment, beginning with what? Beginning with what? Competitive forces. Confirm that you're with me up to this point.
Yeah, it is, sir.
All right, thank you very much. So
I'm with
remember a
you,
few
sir.
things. All right, thank you very much. Remember a few things. Anyone we look at, remember it's all about what are the issues about this particular one. For instance, competitive forces. We're talking about your competitors. So if you are MTN, we're talking about Glow and Airtel and Nine Mobile. If you are Zenith Bank, then we're talking about GT Bank, UBA, Fed, all the other banks. Okay, you know exactly what we mean by that. Good. So three things. What are the issues that we should be looking at now? And then what are the questions that should be raised? I think it's from here that the textbook started bringing in what questions you need to answer. Go and learn those questions. They'll come out in your exam. Full stop. So I said, um, There is not me, these are my materials. I'm not the one that said this. Okay, so the author said an important part of an external audit is identifying rival firms. You know those people who are your competitors. What are their strengths? Determine their strengths, determine their weaknesses, determine what they are capable of doing, determine how they respond to opportunities, how they respond to threats. Okay, objectives and strategy. What are their strategies? What are their objectives? Okay, so these are areas now. These are the major things that you need to find out. Strength, their weaknesses. Okay, good. They said here competition in all industries, almost all industries, can be described as intense, and sometimes they want to just put you out of business. They want to just snuffle you out complete. So you remember the evolution of strategy, right? It moved from the initial stage, and now we have what they call exploitation of firm specific advantage, just to push the other ones out. Okay. Anyway, let's jump there. Study all of these 7 characteristics of most competitive firms. But look at the questions they're asking now. Number one. So if you see an exam question that says write out 10 questions to be asked about your competitors when carrying out a strategic management audit. Good. Those are the answers. Number one, what are their strengths? Who are the major competitors? Okay, I will start from there. Who are the major competitors? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? Airtel will say MTN seem to have a stable network in the town. Okay, but we have more coverage in the bushes. Something like that. What are their weaknesses? What are their major objectives? What are their strategies? Next question. How will they respond to this thing that this president just said now? Or this election that is going on? How will it affect MTN? How will it affect Airtel if you're one of them? Okay. So that you will know, okay, this is something that will can affect all of us together. Okay. Just look at them, sure, you will see these questions at least. At least they're all here. Okay. This is our industry. Is it how easy is it for new companies to come in? Okay. How are we positioning our products compared to how they are positioning their product? They give about 12 different questions that you can ask. Hmm? So go and study them. Okay, good. Get those information, answer them, and then know how to position yourself in the market. Okay. I think that's the only one that they looked at from the external. Then the other ones they're looking at are internal. It's the same process, okay? Just that internally speaking, we're looking at a few of the departments internally. Look at the issues we have in the internal aspect. Look at from the bottom, you will see we have what's our MIS, what's our management information system like? What's the strength of our research and development, human resources? What's our production? So these are different units, business, different departments, functional departments in business. So each and every one of them, they're trying to find out the strength of the organization and then the weakness of the organization, of the competitors rather. All right, let's get back there and let's see how fast we can go. Okay, so read all of those story, plenty things. So here they are starting with what? The management. Internal audit beginning with what? The management. So for management, you're looking at the 5 functions. You are going to ask questions around the functions of management, which include what? Planning, organizing, motivating, staffing, and controlling. Right? So study this, you will see it. They're telling you what these activities are, and then at what stage do you really need to look at all of these things. Okay. Oh, thank you, Lord. Oh, good, thank you, Lord. So let's go on. This one also came with a checklist of questions. So you have Identify the areas where you need to ask questions. And now, what are the questions you're asking? Does the firm use strategic management concepts? Are their objectives measurable? Is it well communicated? All of these are management issues. The managers, do they really plan effectively? Do they delegate authority well? Is the organization structure appropriate? Are job descriptions and job specifications clear? Is employee morale high? And so on and so forth. Anyway, let's go on to the next. Marketing, the marketing function of business. Look at basic variables that you can look at. Okay, their functions are what make up the variables. The functions of the marketing include what these 7 things that I said here, right? Customer analysis, selling of products and services, pricing, product planning and service planning, distribution, and so on and so forth. So you're going to ask questions. Okay, these are the questions you should ask. So I'm going to skim through all of it because I want you to go and study them on your own. The major job is to make you understand why you have to study them. And I believe I've already achieved that. Finance and accounting. This strategic management audit in the area of finance and accounting is still not the same thing as that end of the year financial audit that they do, okay? This one is just to get information from your finance or your company through the finance wing to examine your strengths and your weakness. So you're going to be seeing a lot of things here. Okay, what are the variables we are considering? And then what are the questions to ask about those variables? Okay, the objective is for us to know our strength. How do we know that this business is doing well financially? How do we know that this business is weak financially? Okay, these things in accounting are made available through the use of what they call financial ratios. Do you hear me? Financial ratios. So it's from their values, maybe profit, asset, numbers that they compute these ratios. So you have to pay attention here also. Okay, be good. Okay, so you get their ratios and then you compare it with the ratios of other companies in the industry, and then you also compare it with your own ratios from previous period and season to see. So we have 5 types of ratios. We have number 1, liquidity ratios. Liquidity has to do with liquid cash. When I say liquid, it means it's cash, not just asset. So when you need more cash to do anything, can you really have it? Is it how good or how easy will it? How good or how well are you operating in such a way that if you need money now, you see one big business opportunity, you have the cash to release, to buy it, to invest in it. That's what we call liquidity ratios. And there are two ratios in that category. We have the current ratio and the quick ratio, which is also called the acid test ratios. Number 2, we have leverage ratios. Leverage is another word for saying other people's money or other people's effort. Okay, so when you borrow to do business, you are leveraging on other people's money. That's what we call debts now. So all those ratios that speak about debt to asset ratio, debt to equity, debt to this, they are all on leverage. I think there's a table here that carries them quite well. Number 3, activity ratios. Okay, it measures how you use your resources. So we have different type of ratios to check. Inventory turnover, fixed asset turnover. There are many, so just check. When we get to the table, you will see them all. Number 4, profitability ratios. Okay, how profitable? That is efficient, not necessarily effective, but efficient. How profitable are we? So that's why we have things like gross profit margin, operating profit margin, net profit margin, returns on total asset, returns on equity, stuff like that. I think number 5 is the last, growth ratio. So we've identified 4 areas where questions can be asked when it has to do with financing. So let's say there's a table for that. Okay. The growth ratios are ratios that measure how this company can, okay, maintain its current economic position and also grow. Like your sales, if your sales are increasing, then we know that definitely you have a bright future. Okay, the business has that. Okay, so let's look at them. They said financial ratio analysis must go beyond the actual calculation and interpretation of the ratios. What does it entail? You have to learn how to apply it and make decisions. So look at them very closely. Here we are still on the ratios. We've not asked the questions yet. Okay. Okay. So look at the formulas. In the balance sheet of a company, I believe everybody here did accounting. Balance sheet, or the one they call statement of financial position. I think that's the new name for balance sheet in accounting. Statement of financial position. You will see all of these things like total current assets, total current liabilities, total liabilities. Okay, good. So this is the formula for calculating liquid ratios. When you say current asset divided by current liability, the, okay, that means you're talking about current ratio. Sure, this is where mathematics is coming in. Some of you are scratching your head already. Okay, you're only lucky that they just stop at this formula, but it will be very beautiful if you bring up some just one or two questions. We say company A or company XYZ. Okay, their current assets total for the year is 1 million. Current liabilities is 800,000. What is their quick ratio? And you meet that kind of thing in the exam hall. Just compute and give me an answer. Are you with me? So check out every ratio under the ratio categories. Check out their formulas. Check out what they measure. Okay, what they mean. What does it mean? What's the threshold? We'll say when it gets to this particular level, it's good. Or no, we're not up to par. Or compare our own with that of MTN, since we are also a telecommunication company. So look at them, study all of them, keenly, because they will haunt you. They will haunt you in your exams. Okay, I don't know how they want to set your CBT, but I know they will haunt you in your exams. Okay, good. All right, so that's that about it. So look at what they told you here. I've said this over and over again, but let's look at it again. Number one, what is the trend? The trend of this ratio. What is last year's own compared with this year's own? That's what it seemed to me. What was it like last 2 years? And between last 2 years and now, what are the changes that we've seen? Okay. Number two, how does it compare with those of other companies in the industry? We are assuming we are saying BSAQ201 telecommunications, right? That's the name of our business. We'll start comparing. Is our ratio, does it look like MTN's own? Or is far from MTN's own? I hope you get it right. That's what I'm saying here. So you do an industrial analysis, and then finally, you apart from the industrial analysis, you're looking at the key guys, the main people, the key competitors. Okay, you compare that also. Good. So see the questions that you should be asking. Just look at them. The questions that you should be asking per time. Okay. And so let me plug that again. Hold on, why differently? But you should have gone down. Do you have any question at this juncture? I believe you have an understanding of how to approach this topic. This topic is the heart of this course. Okay? So you need to understand how to approach it. Anytime, any day you look into your courseware, you know where you're coming from, you know where you're going to. You stumble inside their finance and accounting issues, you know, okay, we are trying to look at how information can be gotten. And going by this way, what information are we going to get? Another serious aspect, very serious, productions and operation. I want to see how the pattern that this particular writer has followed. The issues to ask questions about are usually the functions of that department. what is it that that department is supposed to be doing, right? Then are you with me now? Then they now start asking questions, raising questions that they will ask about those things. For instance, in production now, they are starting to say production function, all those activities that transform raw materials. Okay, they buy flour before you know anything, we have bread. What are the things to mind? They give us about five of them, five areas. Number one, the process. Okay, how does it? What's the process? The starting point, the next thing that follows, the next thing that follows, it goes into the machine before anything, something comes out, then it goes into the oven before anything, bread comes out. Number two, capacity. Capacity. Capacity, you're looking at it at what is our customer demand and how much can we produce to meet it. And then how can we anticipate or expect future demand to see whether we have to do something, we have to increase our speed or reduce it. Inventory, the goods, the material that we have. What are the bag? How many bags of flour and butter, right, for bread, right? Can we keep at a time to know that even if the mighty demand, we're not shaking? And then what's the quantity of what we've mixed already that's already in the oven? And then what's the quantity of finished goods? Then workforce, I think the last one should be quality. So these are five key functions. So these are the variables. So they will now ask questions on this. What questions do you think we can ask on process? Is this the best process? Can this process be improved? How long does this process take? Are you getting it now? Can we come up with another process of making this bread such a way that it saves time so that we can achieve more? Okay, those are the questions that are asked. Look at them. A few ones. Supplies. These are supplies. Are they reliable? Okay, are they reasonable? These are factory machines. Are they good? Are they okay? These are questions. So when you read them like this, you understand them. We are almost rounding off. Okay, so don't be worried. Don't say, oh my goodness, this thing is long and boring. It's actually very long. Okay. So we have just, I think, two departments to look at now. The R&D department and then the MIS department. Yeah, that's MIS. MIS good. MIS is Management Information System. R&D refers to research and development. And R&D is very, very important. Very, very important, especially for organizations who want to go far in time. Okay. So R&D stands for research and development. That is the way that companies solve problems with new innovation. Okay, they solve problems, both psychological problems and technical problems with those innovations come from the R&D because the R&D has to carry out certain researches, okay, before actually coming up with new things, new products, new solutions, new. Good. So what are the questions you're going to be asking? Read all of these things very well. So I want to believe that with this, you've gotten a good guide. They're asking questions. Does this firm have R&D facilities? Many firms don't. If yes, are they adequate? Number two, okay, if we don't have and we use an external team to come and do R&D for us, how much will it not cost us more? Does it really make sense? Okay. Now, these people in our R&D department, are they really qualified? Okay, those are questions that will be asked. Not really the many ones. Finally, before I take a deep yawn and then go to bed, management information system. This is another department on its own that decides how information is circulated within the business and also with the business and the outside world. That direction. So this is another area where you have to check quite well. They didn't give us so much about this, but when you study it, you will find out. Oh, they will ask some questions here too. Good. They say do all management in the firm use, okay, do they use this our information system at all, or they just continue in their old ways? Do we have a CIO? Very serious. All right, I think that's it. Almost running off, and that's it. Period. So I want to picture it now. Let's go back to that diagram. Good. Picture it. See them under these ones that are internal, especially the ones that are business functions. The question you will ask yourself is, what are the functions of each of these, and what questions can be asked about that function? Okay. Good. Okay. So that's all for the night. Do you have any question? If you don't have any question, we can close now. We have just 4 minutes to make it 1 hour that the recording started. I want to thank you all for being here. So always read, okay? Read even what's on the forum. If I create a forum and send, read it. You will know you have answers to.
Thank
Okay,
you.
you have answers to questions. Yeah. So let me stop the recording. I'll try and do all the necessary uploads this week. When I say uploads, I mean by that time this recording too should be ready. Then I'll have to download them all. They're usually large, sometimes 1 gig, sometimes 600 megabytes, and then I'll upload them on my YouTube channel so that you can have access to them from any anytime. If there's